Welcome to Are We Old? The show featuring two comedians getting nostalgic and tackling life's toughest question, Are we old? Here's your hosts, Mike Finoia and Charles McBee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Are We Old podcast. I'm Mike Finoia.
What up, everybody? I'm Charles McBee.
How you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. How you feeling?
Old.
Yeah, well, there you go. You're in the right place.
I guess I'm in the right
I guess
podcast.
we answered that, didn't we?
But we are not alone. Thank you, everybody, for listening and following and liking. We're loving all of the comments and feedback and emails. You can find us on all the socials at Are We Old, patreon.com/Are We Old Pod. And we want to hear from you. Are We Old Podcast at gmail.com. I'm at MikeFinoia.
Charles McBee, you know what to do. MCBEE, everything Charles McBee.
It's great. I want to give a huge shout out and a thank you to a fan of the podcast, Charles, Lisa Ann.
And I'm a fan of her.
Yeah, me too. She had me on the Lisa Ann Experience, a fun podcast that she runs, and we got into comedy. We got into just talking about life and stuff. But we talked about this here podcast, and it was very kind of her to share her thoughts about it. And we'll play a little clip right here.
Now, that brings me right here to something I saw that you're doing that I fell into the clips. You and Charles McBee are so hilarious with this. Are you old? Are we old? I'm going to say my first and biggest are you old moment is always when I'm going to the doctor. I saw an eye doctor that literally the first time I saw him, I was like, are you old enough to drive? He was like 26, but 27, but he just looked really young. So how did this come about? Are we old?
Well, and I will tell you, I agree with you 100% with going to the doctor.
God.
I've been
Where are all the old doctors? Are they too expensive?
Whatever happened to
Do we only get the young doctors? Where are they? Can we not afford them, or do they live in cities we don't live in?
I miss the old guy that had like coffee breath and nose hair, like hair growing out of the outside of his nose.
Ears, man. Yeah, no mask, no gloves.
I'm like, oh, really, Travis? You're my doctor? Thanks, man.
Thank you, Taylor. That was great.
Charles and I, Charles is a hilarious comic, and we worked together quite a bit at like Gotham and the Cellar in New York and all the clubs we do, and we kept having these sort of like how like frequencies will just find themselves, and you end up talking to certain people about certain things, right?
Yeah.
Like I have my Yankee talks with people, I have my Miami Dolphin talks with people, whatever. Every time I see Roy Wood, we geek out on the Dolphins. Every time I see whoever, we talk about the Grateful Dead. Or Charles and I kept getting into this, like, am I old or blah? Are these crowds looking younger? For a while, Lisa, crowds were doing like this. They were snapping instead of clapping. And I'm like, the hell is that? And now I'm a grump and I'm kind of like, am I old or is this weird shit? So we kept doing this. And I forget who it was. One of us was like, I think I said to him, I'm like, we should do a podcast of like, are we old moments, and he does. Thank you so much, Lisa. She brought up some pretty cool stuff, and it got me thinking about like, we are on to something here, Charles. This is, everyone's getting old, bro.
Man, well, listen, according to the listeners and according to the people that's been writing in, it seems like we're not the only ones. So that's something.
That's great. We can all get geriatric together. Can I run an Am I Old by you, my man?
Do it.
Am I old? Are we old?
Are waiting.
I know, dude. Listen, it's this. I went to pick up. This is such a funny, like now it's like, I'm old. I'm listening to the beginning of this thing. I went to go pick up a prescription at CVS.
You had me at, I went to go pick up a prescription.
And I had to park 10 spaces from the door. No, Halloween candy is on sale, and it's right in your face.
Yep.
And it's this thing now where I don't gain anything on Halloween. It costs me money on Halloween, and I don't want to deal with it this year. I'm in the suburbs where every kid, it is, and look, I'm happy for them. Go get all the candy you want. But Charles, I don't want to deal with it. And I don't want to be the guy who shuts his lights off and, kind of bah humbug, stay out of here. There's no candy. But I also really don't. It makes my dog go bonkers. I got to sit near the door. I got to go, hey, look at you, a Power Ranger. Hey, look at you. You're whatever the hell, Yeah. And I'm sick of it. I don't have kids. I don't want to pretend like I care. But then it's like, oh, dude, don't be that guy. Don't be the guy that ruins Halloween for your neighbor's kids. And then I got to see these people the rest of the year. You know what I mean? So It's like, am I old that I don't want to like give out candy and pretend and touch these dumb kids' hands and ugh?
Here's the thing about that. Yes, you are old.
Okay.
But here's the thing. There are bylaws and rules into this social norm that we call Halloween that benefits people like you. And so I don't think you should skip past these rules and skip past these things that benefit you. The whole turn the light out, that's an option for you. And the kids and everyone involved knows this rule and they go accordingly. So if they see that the light's out, we never looked at the house where the light was out and was like, how come you're not giving us candy? We looked at it as, thanks for not wasting our time. Let's go to the next house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
It's just a social contract that we all have. Lights on, you get candy. Lights off, keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
Nice thing that keeps society. That's all.
Don't you wish we could do that with our eyes in conversations?
Oh, my God. That would be just turn the light out.
Lights off, dude. Keep walking.
Keep walking. Keep walking, pal.
Keep walking. Nobody's home, dude.
Lights out. The shades are down. Nobody's home.
No speaky English. Dude, yeah. I think we might be onto something there.
Hilarious.
All right. So I'm okay with it. But why is it that I feel guilt about like being home and knowing that these kids could get like it? I mean, it doesn't take a lot. You know what it is for me, Charles? It's like, I'm going to skip Halloween and then November 1st, I'm going to like go outside and I'm going to be like, man, I really could have like made a kid's day, but you know what? I don't think I could have. I'm not that important. You know what I mean? What's that? One extra fun size Three Musketeers or some shit? Like they don't need it.
I don't know. I feel like you're dealing with some internal weight of the world shit right now.
Did you just meet me?
You're bringing Dr.
Aging.
Dr. Aging here. Yeah, I don't know. There's a guilt somewhere in there where you feel you're responsible for ruining some kid's Halloween, when from my perspective, that kid isn't going to be the wiser if your light is off and they just go to the other thousands of homes that they're going to go to and rack their bags up with candy. They could give 2 squirts of pee that your house or the other house didn't have a light on and didn't give them any candy. I just don't think that that's going to be on the forefront of their mind. Okay. Unless they know you personally and have been to your home and they call you Uncle Mikey and something like that. But other than that, you're just the house that the light wasn't on and they kept it moving to the other side. Now, if your house light was on and they come up there and you open the door and they were like, trick or treat, and you were like, get the fuck off my property. Then you might ruin a Halloween or two. You know, you might
get the fuck off my property. Where's my candy?
Right. Just snatch their bag and then shut the door.
Oh my God, that would be great. That'd be fun.
Yeah. I mean, or they'll never forget that Halloween for as long as they live.
You're right. I'm giving them a story. Remember when that crazy asshole stole our candy?
Instead of robbing them from whatever you think they're robbing them from, you're gifting them an insane story that they'll have with them for the rest of their lives.
And I'll tell you what, like a king size Snickers or a double Twix, that story is going to be way more savory and taste better longer than some fun size box of Nerds that I'm going to hand out, you know?
And way more damaging.
Yeah, they're gonna have a heart cavity instead of a tooth cavity from that. You're right, and I think I just have to go like, yeah, you know what? Like, if I was on the road, I wouldn't be here anyway, right?
Exactly.
I think also it has to do with me. Like, I want to be living in New York, living in the city. You didn't have to deal with this. Nobody trick or treats in an apartment building. I mean, maybe they do, but I mean, not in my. Do
Depends
they
on the
really?
building, yeah.
That's terrible. But not in my building, they didn't, and I never had to deal with it when I lived in Queens. In the East Village, we would go outside and there'd be kids, whatever. But it was like in New York, I feel it's like, all right, I'm done. You know what I mean? There's no light outside your house in the city.
Right.
And you can also be like, go away. And like, in New York, in Manhattan, it's crazy.
Yeah, kids
throw a sneaker at the door,
It's also I've noticed, maybe it's like this in other parts of the country now, but I've noticed that it's way earlier now. Like kids are out when the sun's still out. Yeah. And they're going to like, bodegas. For anybody that's never been to New York, bodega is like your corner store,
convenience store. Yeah.
They're going to the bodegas, the corner stores and stuff like that in Manhattan, in the city. And it's like broad daylight. And, it's kind of just, it's less, it's less like how it was when we grew up. Now, maybe it's still like that in the suburbs where they wait till the lights are, it's dark outside and kids are running, scurrying about throughout the neighborhood. But I
think you're right. And I think it has a lot to do with parents now want to helicopter their kids a little bit more when they're. My parents were like, "Yeah, go, go," and I was like, "I'll be back before midnight or whatever." I hope, you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, it was the same. Yeah, we just ripped and run. I remember, or there might have been like one chaperone. Like I remember my uncle when I was really little. My uncle would take me, my sister, and cousins and stuff or whatever. And then we get a little older, and you just go with your friends, and you just go to house and rip and run throughout the neighborhood, and just collecting candy from strangers. And and it was fine. It was fine. You were like, oh. Be careful because someone put a razor blade in an apple, and we would always be like, well, who the fuck is eating an apple for Halloween?
Yeah. Also, who the hell's taking the time? If you hate kids that much, right, that you want them to eat a razor blade in an apple, just go kill a kid. Why are you going to take the time? Really? What are you going to put on your little magnifying glass and you're like, sneak a razor into a fun-sized Snickers?
For something,
just run a kid over.
For something that meticulous, I would think you'd want to see the result.
Yes. That's why it was always bullshit.
You're not even going to see the result of that. So what are you even doing?
You just put a razor in a candy and then go, hopefully there's one less kid in the world. See, that's a great point. And also that makes me feel better about just shutting the light off.
Yeah.
Not that I would ever put a razor in a candy, but worse things have happened than Uncle Mikey shutting the lights off and not giving out candy.
That's true. That's very true.
I want to know what the old heads out there think. Am I old? How do you handle it in your neighborhood? Is your neighborhood a big trick or treat neighborhood? Are we old podcast at gmail.com. Charles, what was your favorite, when you think back, what was your favorite Halloween costume that you ever had?
It was easy. Well, two. It was Ninja Turtle. And the other one, my favorite though, was Spider-Man. I had a Spider-Man costume, and back then, costumes doubled because our moms were very, what's the word?
Frugal,
resourceful.
Yeah.
There you go, resourceful. So the costumes doubled as footy pajamas back then. So it was like,
you're right.
If you think for 1 second that you're only wearing this thing for one day out of the year, you are out of your daggone mind. You are wearing this shit for the next 2 to 3 years until you have to cut the footies off because you're too big to fit in them, and then they just roll up to your calf. All right?
Yeah. You're breaking through them like Josh Baskin and big.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's so funny. I think that and to that point, I think my Karate Kid gi was my favorite costume because it felt like I was wearing a bathrobe outside. You know what I mean? Like it was super easy. I always was a football player. Like my Dan Marino Miami Dolphins jersey and helmet was always like a favorite. And then also, my Freddy Krueger was fun.
Nice.
So I got to
Nice.
sport a hat
Glove?
and the glove.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
And the turtleneck and the mask sucked. Do you remember those shit? This is a am I old? Wow, dude. Remember those crumb bum masks that were like plastic and they had a little teeny tiny elastic band that was stapled to it?
What
And
do you
it just
think
like,
what do you think my Spider-Man was?
that was what your Spider-Man was.
Unbelievable. Oh yeah, you couldn't
Sharp
breathe.
edges.
You couldn't breathe. You couldn't see.
It smelled like chemicals in there.
It was chemicals.
Of course it was. And in between houses, you go, and then pull it back down. Trick or treat. And then you start getting chocolate breath in there because you're eating the candy as you go.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God, that's funny. What'd you use as a candy carrier? Pillowcase or a basket?
I had the old school pumpkin.
You had a pumpkin with a handle.
Pumpkin with the handle. Yeah. Still got. As a matter of fact, I have to find some old pictures. But yeah, I had old school. Love that thing. Pumpkin with the handle. Went around, got it popping, and then. And I've said this before, and people have reached out, so I know that other people have experienced this. Because I grew up in a religious family, we weren't as strict as others because there were friends that weren't allowed to have Halloween or whatever or go trick or treating.
Wow.
I was able to go trick or treating, but what the alternative used to be was you would go to your church or your local whatever synagogue or whatever, and they would have their own version of trick or treating, but it wasn't called trick or treating. It was called some whatever festival, fall festival or something like that. I didn't mind because I had a lot of friends in church and stuff like that. So it was just essentially me hanging out with my friends, and they served a ton of food and the candy was on and popping. They made it worth your while. You didn't feel like you were missing out on anything. So I used to double dip. I used to go to the fall festival and then go trick or treating after. I mean, it was insane.
Wow, that's great.
We would get back by the time we would get back to my house. My dining room table looked like Pablo Escobar in the 80s. Just if the candy was cocaine, I mean, it was just mountains of candy on my mother's dining room table, and I'm just sitting there like an emperor.
He's like, "You got the money? I got the money. I got the Snickers too."
Unbelievable.
Amazing. That's so fun. And you were an older brother too, so you were able to go, "Look at what's that?" and then snag whatever you wanted.
Oh, you don't like these.
Yeah, man. That's so great. That's awesome. I don't think we had we had a good neighborhood growing up for trick or treating. So and people were out. Everybody was out except that one, soon to be me that was lights off. But it was interesting. I had I'm not a big horror guy. You know what I mean? Like I didn't go into the gore and stuff as a kid. In fact, embarrassing story here. One of my first dates I ever had, Charles, was I brought a girl, Melissa, to a congregational church in my town that was on the town green. I grew up in a New England town, so it was you had the town green and all the little markets and stuff around it. There was a church, not my church, but a church, and they had a haunted, kind of a Halloween haunted graveyard thingy that you walk through the church and the yard in the back and the parking lot, and they had all these things set up. And it was like a date, and you got in line and you walked with the people and you went through the exhibits. And there was one room where they had all this fake grass and tombstones laid out. Right. And once you got into the room, the lights went off and a strobe light went on and zombies came out of the grass and started walking towards you. Bro, I screamed at the top of my lungs. I pushed her out of the way into other people and ran out of the church and ran across the street and jumped into my mom's station wagon and was like, "Go, go." And she's like, where's Melissa? And I'm like, "It's too late. They got her. Go." And I'm crying. And she's like, "Wait a minute, dude." They had to stop the event, turn the lights on. And zombie number one, which was Pastor whoever, came out and he's like, "Oh my God, young man, no, we're playing. This is not." And they walked me through and they made all of the the Frankenstein and Dracula and whoever like introduced themselves to me. They're like, "Oh, I'm the coach from the," and dude, she's just crying, and I'm like, "Oh my god!"
How
and then
old
I think
were you? 15.
I was 23. No, I think it was like 5th grade, maybe 4th grade, something like that. But it was a oh my god, I was my first humiliating Halloween moment was
brutal. Fuck Halloween. That was a humiliating moment.
Which maybe that's why I want to shut the lights off.
There we go. See, we gotten it down. We have a breakthrough.
We did it. Who needs therapy? Just start a podcast with your friends, guys. That's all we need.
We found it.
Thank you, Charles. I hope you take Blue Cross Blue Shield or whatever I have. Let's hear from the old heads. Send us your embarrassing Halloween stories, guys. areweoldpodcast@gmail.com.
You know what I was thinking about?
What?
I was on my way to a show last night. It was a New York Comedy Club. Shout out to New York Comedy Club. And as I was walking to the venue, and this happens all the time, so it's not anything unique, but it just happened to be on the front of mine. I'm walking to the venue, and I'm just noticing that everybody that was passing by was just like this, right? Just in their phone. And it just, even though it happens all the time, and I know that's just the time that we're in now, but I don't know, for whatever reason, in that moment, I was just thinking, like, what if there was like some like, you know, evil genius or somewhere where somebody just said, you know what, for the betterment of society, they just flipped the switch or they just pressed the button and everybody's phones just stopped working, or there was a message that came up on everybody's phone and it was just like, shut this down, or, you know, look up.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
Talk to somebody. Like,
yeah.
It just made me think of it, just like, man, the times before, you know, like a landline. How prehistoric that is now. Like, the idea that there was no autonomy, that there was no personal space when it came to the phone. The phone was the phone.
That's it. You had one. The family had one, maybe two.
The family had one, maybe two. And if you were a 15-year-old girl, you begged your mom to maybe put one in your room. Maybe you got to get the clear phone or whatever.
Yes.
And that was it. But like, I mean, the idea that we had to call people when we wanted to call a friend, we had to call their entire home and go through the entire family. Remember in The Godfather when Michael was over in Italy and he met Apollonia for the first time and he had to date the entire family? Like, they were on a date walking through the thing and then you saw like the entire family following. That's what it was like calling somebody's house.
You're right.
If you called a girl, you tell me if you used to do this. I would be at home practicing my parent voice, practicing my, hello, Mr. Jenkins, can I speak to Keisha, please? Like,
you went deeper. I would go higher.
Yeah.
I'd go, hi, it's Mike. How are you? Is
yeah.
Danielle there?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I probably did go higher too. Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
Different time, man.
It is so crazy. And also it's this thing of kind of like, you had to also talk in front of your whole family, right? So yes, you were calling someone else's family, but you also had to like twist the cord and try to be cool sitting underneath a desk while like whatever, your dad's like yelling at Monday Night Football and you're like, oh no, I like New Kids on the Block too. And he's just looking at you like,
just speaking in code like Goodfellas, just
literally,
like,
dude.
You have to talk like the FBI was tapping your phone or something like that.
She's like, do you like me? And I'm like, well, thing one or thing two? Like, what do you know, like, I'm like, things are cool. Stuff is nice. You know, and she's like, you sound like you don't like me. And I'm like, I'm trying not to get ridiculed. Oh, and we both were older siblings too. You know, we're the oldest in our family. So it was kind of like one of the things I remember always being able to like kind of bitch about as like the opener to a conversation was like, oh man, my siblings are just always around and I can't talk. And the girl would be like, oh, it's so cute. You're an older brother. And I'd be like, yeah, I really love them. Whatever. Meanwhile, I'm like holding their head in a fish tank, trying to fucking shut them up.
Shut up.
Just nailing them with pillows from across the room. But yeah, dude, I remember there being like and my mom was a big like talk on the phone.
She talking to her girlfriends
constantly.
Is it just me, or could that cord, when your mom was on the phone, could that cord reach to Cleveland?
Bro, it was like, yeah, like that thing turned into like a wizard staff. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was. And no matter what, like she could be on the phone. Eddie Murphy has like a similar bit, like when back, I think it was the Delirious, where he's just talking about his mom would be on the phone and he'd be fighting with Charlie or something like that, and she could just be like, "Yeah, girl, so and just throw a shoe and be able to smack him in the head and not miss a beat in the conversation."
Yeah, dude. And it was so interesting that, like, now we all have these things, right? So we all are able to be reached at any time. When Total Phone,
forget about it,
became a thing, and should we explain to the youngins what Total Phone was? That was call waiting, right? That was the first time two people could call your house at once. And if your mom was on the phone and the phone beeped, you go like, hang on, let me check. And you hit the button. Hello. Yeah, I'm on the other line. He'll call you back. Boop. Mike, call Dennis back later. Okay, cool. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you imagine in this society where everyone needs to feel special and like at all times, you're the number one most important thing in the world? If you were on the phone, what if every other person had a cell phone and we had to share them? And I go, I'm on the phone, and someone's like, oh, I'm waiting for a text message. Well, fucking, you got to wait.
Well, that's it. I don't know.
Imagine. Talk about civil war. That shit, we'd be 3 countries by now.
Oh my God. Taking a message for somebody back then, or getting or reading a message that somebody else wrote on a notepad. Yeah, so-and-so called. It looks like a doctor wrote it. And you're like, your crush finally called you, and you're just like, what did they, who is this? What did they say? Your younger sister is your secretary now. She's trying to dictate whatever she said what did she say? What the fuck did she say?
Yeah, did she sound happy? Did she sound angry? Did she like me? And they're like, I like toys.
Oh my God, it was a whole thing.
And there was like, and here's the thing, there wasn't like a SNET. We had SNET, Southern New England Telephone. That was our company, right? There wasn't like an SNET 13 Pro Max, right? There was, and there wasn't like a Atlantic Bell, like 14 Galaxy or whatever the hell. There was 3 types of phones, right? There was that bowling ball ass black phone that was just like rotary dial.
Yeah.
And that was like old school. And then you got the one next to the fridge that you beep, boop, bop, boop, beep. And then, holy shit, if you were wealthy, cordless phones.
Mm-hmm.
Cordless phones changed everything.
You could go hide.
You can go hide.
For the first time. Except for when it rained. Because if it was a thunderstorm, you were afraid you were going to get electrocuted.
That's because our parents told us that.
Exactly.
The same people that said don't stand near the microwave and that said don't point the remote control at you because it's got lasers that send cancer to you.
There you go. Go.
We had for a while, we had the Sports Illustrated football phone.
Oh, so I remember though.
Remember the football phone, dude?
I remember.
That thing sucked. You could not get you couldn't get the football. It was a football. You shouldn't be talking into a football, you idiots. But we were trying to like put it to your face, and it was like,
you're telling me that the football phone didn't work
as a phone
efficiently as a phone. Got it.
Did you ever try to go out in the yard and have a toss with a phone? It didn't work.
Remember when Uncle Jesse used to try to sell us minutes?
Oh, Jesus. I do remember that.
Uncle Jesse used to push, was it collect or whatever it was?
Collect calling.
Whatever that number was. He used to push that thing. How much did he get paid? Because he was on every commercial. Call this number. If you want to call somebody from out of town, call him.
Collect calls with Uncle Jesse.
Like,
you know what's so weird too? Pre-internet and all that, right? Was like these. Now I never had this, and I'm asking you, was there Party Line or whatever the hell? Did you ever hear about this?
I remember Party Line. I never did a Party Line, but a lot of people, I remember hearing like
the hell
party
was
line.
that?
You would just go,
you called a number and just whoever was on you talked to?
I guess so. You were
What the fuck? What kind of unsafe shit?
Oh my God.
You're just on the phone with weird other lonely people around the world?
That was on like $3.99 a minute.
Oh my God, dude. Party line.
Oh, my friend did a I think it might have been a party line, and she racked up. It was like a couple grand.
Oh my God.
I mean, she was like 10 or something like that, and and they had to pay it. They had to pay
you
it.
had to pay it.
Oh
you
my
had to
God,
pay
she
it.
got in so much trouble.
That's the
Oh my
days when
God.
they'd send someone to your house to get the bill. You know?
Oh my God.
It's weird. Did you ever do like the call and talk to the Ninja Turtles?
No, I never did those. Like even none of those things. I used to see because like Hulk Hogan and all that stuff. Call and talk to blah blah blah. I for whatever reason I just never thought to ask my parent. I was just like I know I was going to be a no. I was very meticulous on what I asked for and what I didn't ask for, and I was able to do a realistic analysis of just like how likely are they going to say yes to this, and if I ask for this and I get the no, it's going to hurt my chances of asking for the other thing, the pay-per-view, the WrestleMania pay-per-view, or whatever. It's like whatever I got to get them to pay for now is going to affect what I want them to pay for later, so let me figure out what I want and what I don't want. So I never
That's
really
very smart
stuff.
That's very smart. Now what I did in that token, as a little sidebar here, I would ask hi. I would go, can I have a motorcycle?
Yeah.
Right? Can I can we go on vacation? Can we go to Disney World? Fuck it, no.
Right.
Okay, can I get a new skateboard then? Bang, got a new skateboard, know?
Great. Listen, those are great negotiating skills right there.
That's it. Yeah. I'm like, can I have a new family? No. Can I get Double Dragon then? Okay, sure.
Yeah, man.
I go live with grandma. No, and the phone thing. Now I want to tell you this, and you brought up 15-year-old girls. I guess I was a 15-year-old girl because I made this whole plan, okay, and again, it was because of my siblings and I wanted to spend time in my room and blah, blah, blah. But I just took over the house phone. I just would be on it constantly.
Yep.
And I would call people I didn't even want to talk to, dude. But what I did was I got it to the point where my parents were just like, we got to get this kid his own phone number. And I got my own line in the house.
Oh,
junior in high school, I got
here.
Or sophomore in high school. Yo, you want to talk about feeling like a fucking baller, dude?
Oh my God.
I walked into high school on like a Monday and I go, hey, everybody. And I had a little piece of paper written down, like Mike's new number. And I was like, dude, Mike's got his own phone number.
Bro.
And I had my own line, dude.
Bro.
And I sat in my room like, and now let's bring in the call. We're going to take a caller.
Badass, dude.
It was sick.
Yeah, that's some baller shit right there.
I was shopping for phones like I was, I owned a private jet.
You might, yeah. Yeah, it's
I'm like,
you
that's
might
a
as well,
sleek
you might as well have your own apartment over the garage.
I basically, dude, it was incredible. That was the one saving thing that kept me like sane as a kid, where I was like, I'm going to my office. Yeah. I can't. I'll take my dinner to go, please.
Forward this call to my office. Yeah, just
like my aunt would call to talk to me, and I'm like, have her call. Give her the other line. I'll be in my office.
That's
Tell her to give me 5 to 10. I got to take care of some things.
Bro, I used to I had like girlfriends in other states. It's a long story. The point is, I used to get calling cards. I remember people remember calling cards because back in the day, you thought you were about to call across city lines. Are you insane?
No.
What are you?
Yeah,
are you Scrooge McDuck? You got millions of dollars laying around?
Yeah.
So you would have to get calling cards because you couldn't call long distance, quote unquote, without it being a gazillion dollars, which is why Uncle Jesse kept trying to push that goddamn number on us all the time. So I would go to the grocery store and I would rack up on calling cards because I had either girlfriends or friends and in other places. And I remember getting them for like Christmas and birthdays and stuff. Like, oh, here's a calling card. Here's a calling card.
That was the Amazon gift card of our childhood.
Yeah.
Was get a calling card so I can call that girl I met at the fair
this summer.
Yeah, who lives, who was home to visit her aunt, but lives in blah blah blah, and yeah. That's how you kept in touch with people.
Calling cards. Now, all of this is unlocking things that, and I'm so happy. This is the anti-dementia podcast, ladies and gentlemen, because we're keeping we're dusting off old stuff here. I had a thing, Charles, and I want to ask you: were you a phone book? Did you have a little black book with your numbers?
Oh.
I had a thing that was like, you pulled it to the letter and pressed a button and it popped open, and then you'd write your numbers in there.
If
I was
Gordon Gecko over here, you had your own.
I literally, dude, it was insane.
It
was the most organized and productive I was in my entire life. I peaked at 15 and a half, bro. We literally.
My God. American Psycho over here.
It really was, dude. It really was. What did you keep your numbers on?
I had a regular, like a commoner. I had a regular notebook.
Like a surf?
A regular little notebook. I think it was, I forget what color it was. Was it a black book? I can't remember, but it was like a little notebook. And I did handwritten all the numbers in there. I do remember that. Wow, that's going way back. Yeah.
No, you remember going back, like writing a new girl's number in your book or in your machine that I had, and then when you like broke up or she didn't like you or whatever, you'd scribble that number out like a dick. And then when she's like, "I'm sorry, I was wrong," then you're trying to read it through the scribbles.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Is that a 9 or a 4?"
Here's the other thing, though, to that point. Sometimes you wouldn't have to worry about it because back then, what did we do? We memorized phone numbers.
Yeah.
We memorized.
Our brains worked.
Phone numbers. Multiple numbers, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, every phone number. Oh, my God.
It was not even a thing. It was not even a thing.
We had, okay, so you effing kids, we had our speed dial capped at 8 numbers, maybe. And it was like a button you pressed and it was like, okay, I call, Dave the most. I call Sean, say boom, boom, boom. And then that was it. After that, and even those we memorized.
Yep.
I still remember, Charles, 1980s phone numbers in my head right now. And I don't even know if I know my wife's phone number right now.
Yeah, man.
It's bananas.
It's also some of it is just muscle memory at this point.
Oh my God.
But a lot of it is gone away. I know my parents' house phone. I know both my parents' cell phone numbers and my sister's cell phone number. That's it. I'm capped out. And my number. I'm capped out after that.
I don't even know if
I know Cars for Kids. That might be
it. Yeah, I probably know a lot of like Cars for Kids. Yeah, totally. I know 1-800-mattress.
Yeah, 1-800. Yeah, there you go.
In case I need a mattress, and then they always leave the last S off for savings. But yeah, wow, we had man.
Yeah, phone numbers. Memorizing phone numbers. I mean, it was to the. I mean, I don't even know what people do now if they get arrested. You get one phone call. Who you calling? That's it.
I don't know. Ghostbusters?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Call somebody.
Oh, I remember calling Ghostbusters. That's a thing that I did once. They had a number.
They had a number?
Yeah, when you said that, I just remembered that because it was
what?
like I think
I might have done that too. Was it? I might have done that too. I can't remember.
I think it was the number on the car. I don't remember. I have no memory. This is the thing. I've got I need to do some Marie Kondo in here and spring clean and things that don't bring me joy. Get rid of.
Bro, you remember calling to find out what time movies started and where they were playing? You would call the movie phone.
Movie phone. Do you remember calling just to find out what time it was? Springs was the number. Springs. It would go, when making a call, please. The time is 2:32. Like, and that's how you'd set your microwave, bro.
Yep. Like,
God,
thank you. Click.
Damn. We called to find out what time it was.
It was insane.
And that was like.
I remember when Three-Way came out. three-way basically turned into, I mean, everybody knows now. If you don't know, three-way, obviously you could have multiple people on the same line. You could be on the phone with your friend or whoever and then say, oh, I'm going to add in so-and-so. I'm going to call so-and-so. Let's call so-and-so. And then you add them in. And then if your friend had three-way, they could add somebody in. Now
everybody's
you got
fucking everyone. Yeah.
And but eventually, it would turn into, so-and-so's been talking shit about you. Really? Yeah. Oh, I'm going to call him now. You be quiet. Don't say anything. And I'll get them to blah, blah, blah. Like we were like little secret agents trying to get people to incriminate themselves.
That's
like,
how you found out if a girl liked you sometimes.
That's also how you found out if a girl liked you. Yep. Hey, so what do you think of Mikey? Oh, Now, those moments, I was very cautious because, you could find out that the girl of your dreams liked you, or you could not.
Or you found out she's like, who?
She's like, he kind of creeps me out. Like, you could find out some shit.
It was brutal. It was brutal.
Yeah. Be careful. But yeah, I remember those times, man.
It was wild. And now it's just, listen, we don't even like answering the phone anymore. We just go, text me, you fucking weirdo.
You psychopath. You sociopath. Why are you
need to talk to me? Write me a letter. Write me a tiny letter.
How
dare
you?
To your phone.
How dare you call
I
me?
have a couple of friends. Now, Charles, as our friendship has grown, you probably realize I'm a caller.
You are a caller.
Does that bother you?
Does it bother me?
Yes, it does. It bothers you.
Only when I'm mid-jerk.
Oh, well, don't answer.
No, because I usually has something to do. Is this you texting me right now?
I was gonna just fucking.
It usually has something to do with the pot, and so I'm just like, okay, let's get some business going. Because that's usually, if it has something to do with pot or money or sex, I'm like, let's go. Or if it's something a family thing, whatever, family causes, like whatever.
That's what I don't answer.
Those are my 4 things.
Okay.
Anything outside of that, I'm not likely to pick up the phone.
See, it's interesting. I've got like a weird pocket, maybe 5 or 6 friends that I talk to.
Yeah.
And we don't text. And it's this thing of like, if I'm I'm always in the car. So I can't text. So if I'm driving long distances or if I'm whatever, I'm going to call them bullshit, you know? And then I have friends that literally, if they called me, I'd be like, the fuck? Who are you? But then I will seriously I am a bit of I like to chat. I like talking on the phone.
But see, mine is less who are you, and it's more whatever it depends on what I'm doing in the moment.
Yeah.
Because
can it wait?
Like you, like everything, time is always of the essence, and you got so much shit that you're like compartmentalizing, and you're like, okay, now I got to do this. Okay, now I got to do that. Okay, now I'm doing this. And so it's less of who the fuck is this, and more so just like, all right, what am I about to stop time?
Yeah.
For, or what's going on. So that is usually that, because if there's anybody that I just don't want to talk to, there is no courtesy answer.
No. I'll hang that shit up on the first dial, and then they know. That's like the don't ever call again.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, I apologize if I've
you have an open line over here.
Thank you, Charles, and same to you. And I promise I won't have somebody waiting on the other end to see if they like you or not. Okay? Deal. All right, we've been getting a lot of messages, Charles, of people asking, am I an old head? And now it's time for everybody to get clued in, right?
All right. I got a couple to just ponder, you know what I mean? Just ponder on these. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. You know what I mean? But
yes.
But here's one. If your childhood crush is now the spokesperson for Activia, you might be an old head. You know what I mean?
If your childhood crush lies and cheats to get their kid into college, you're an old head.
You're you're an old head. Shout out to Aunt Becky.
Hey, Becky.
Yep. If your knees or any other part of your body sounds like somebody's stomping on bubble wrap when you wake up in the morning, you might be an old head.
Yeah. If you wake up every morning and go, another morning, you're an old head.
We're doing this again?
Again?
If you wake up in the morning and Sonny and Cher, I Got You Babe is playing on the radio and it triggers you.
It triggers you.
For a reason we should all know why. You might be an old head.
Yeah. If you wake up in the morning and a radio is playing, you're an old head.
The old school ones. You all know what I'm talking about with the red letters,
The red
numbers.
Ugh.
And the alarm was just like the end of the world was happening.
Dude, I would have indentations from just fucking fly swatting that thing, dude.
You could swat that thing. You could throw it against the wall. You could take a hammer to it. Indestructible.
Yeah. Now, if you hold your phone too close to something that's hot, you got to like put it in rice and get it a therapist and shit.
If you have a favorite back pillow, you might be an old head. Boom.
Old head. Now let me put it back on my back. I swear to God, we did not know that was going to happen, right?
No, unrehearsed. This is organic, my friend.
If you have more than one back pillow, so you have a favorite, you're a very old head.
You might be an old head.
Holy shit, Charles, that was great.
Oh shit.
If you get excited about a new tube of toothpaste, you're an old head.
You might be an old head. I think so.
And I'm fine with that.
If your first initial instinct to fix an electronic device is to either unplug and then plug it back in or blow into it, you might be an old head.
And also, if the way you think you're going to fix an electronic device is to hit it, you're an old head and you need therapy.
Yeah. If you look at a pair of pliers and you can automatically think of other uses for it other than
to ply.
Oh, this could change the channel on the TV. Why? The amount of TV channel changing that pliers used to do back in the day. Because for the kids out there, we had things called knobs back then.
Knobs went away with Wi-Fi. I think we had to trade that. That we had to give knobs away to get routers.
Pliers and aluminum foil.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's an old head. Yeah, absolutely. Now, if you look at needle nose pliers and go, I think this would be good for pulling nose hairs. You're an old head. Yeah, absolutely. If you consider cough drops candy, someone's got a back pillow in the pocket. There they are. Oh my God, you're almost out, dude. That's the low tank right there. We're old, Holmes. Do it. Oh, and you got cherry too. What do you get? Use your AARP discount with those?
That's right. You know, AARP had the nerve, the audacity, the testicular fortitude, the vaginal valor to send me something in the mail. I was like,
they want you. Hey, can I tell you? I'm one lap ahead of you in this existence. Prepare for it.
Oh my!
You can't unsubscribe from AARP, dude.
They're like Men in Black. You're just
the Grim Reaper runs their marketing program.
They're the Grim Reaper of marketing.
They're like, hey, knock knock, you're dying soon.
It's time.
Might as well save some money on your auto insurance.
Oh my God! I'm like, it used to be a marker of like, it used to be like, oh, you're 50. here's your AARP. That used to be like the thing, because I remember it was like, oh, when I was a kid, it was like, when my dad turned 50 and AARP started coming in. I'm like, I'm 42.
Dude, American Association of Retired People, I think is what AARP stands for. But it's like, now it's like, I don't even know. It's terrible. It's everywhere, dude. We get tons of it. And now I'm actually looking at it going like, can I use AARP as like a discount on cell phones? And by the time when we're 60, they're going to be like, oh, you could get like medicinal marijuana with your AARP card. Like, oh, these gummies were 30% off when you use promo code dinosaur.
You become indignant. You just walk into an establishment and be like, I'm an AARP member.
That's it, bro. That's it. You get seated first at the diner.
They bring the table to you like in Goodfellas.
Yes, absolutely. I'm a union delegate. Yo, that was great. And you know what? We are old. I think my back pillow and your cough drops, I think, were telltale signs that we are the ones that should be running this podcast, my man.
There you go.
Holy shit, I've never felt closer to you. Folks, what are yours? Let's hear some of your you might be old and you are old. Let's see, are we old podcast at gmail.com. Hit us up in the comments on the socials at Are We Old, at Mike Finoia, at Charles McBee, MCBEE. Come back and hang with us, man. We love you guys. Stay young.